Good afternoon. Just waiting for everybody to come in. You guys have had a wonderful week. Happy Wednesday to everybody. Just gonna go ahead and prep this fingernail as if we were going to do a real set of nails. All right, so what I'm going to go ahead and do first is just gently remove shine from the surface of the nail. All right, so I want to just lightly tickle around, just waiting for everybody to come in. As soon as everybody comes in, we're going to start the fundamental course. All right, life with Raisha, what's going down? Good to have you here. How are you today? All right, so once everybody's in, we'll go ahead and get ready to rock and roll. I don't see everybody yet. Everybody should be coming in soon. Let's see. What's up, Crystal? How are you? Good to see you. Elizabeth, what's going down? Welcome to nail school. All right, so I just went ahead and prepped the finger, just removed shine from the surface of the nail, top nail. Linda, what's going down? The weather in Portland is nice. I'm gonna apply 2 coats of protein bond. All right, and this is prepped and ready to go. Okay, so I had a class on Monday, and for my fundamentals class, one of the things that we really focus on before we do any type of application is we really need to dial in consistency. So I want to be able to show you guys one of the things to look for and basically brush pressure and how you're going to be able to manipulate the acrylic when it's actually working from cuticle to free edge. Little trick: by holding the bottle up to the ferrule, you'll be able to dispense it inside your dish with ease. Okay, so you'll notice when I am working with any powder that I'm working with covered pink, if I submerge my brush and I tap on basically the center on the opposite side, it loads the brush. This is going to allow me to pull down inside the powder, bounce inside the powder, and get myself a nice fluffy bead, as you can see, on one side of my brush, right? I do not want to make the mistake of harpooning the surface, right? Look at that. That's going to leave you with a really crappy bead on the end. I don't want to water ski through the surface, because you'll see what ends up happening. You end up getting really dry, then again, real thin edges, inconsistent beads. What we want to be able to do, and do not make the mistake, if you're successful at pressing out the liquid, don't just hold it on the surface praying that you're going to pick something up, because as you can see, it goes back inside. And for those of you guys that are starting, you'll continue to try to get this, and then what you'll end up with is a giant asteroid on the end of your brush. Okay, so you don't want that. You have to physically pull down. So one of my students was like, hey, I'm doing that, but I'm getting really flat beads. What am I doing wrong? Well, if you're getting flat beads, it's probably the angle of attack. You have to come at a really steep angle. You can see the angle that I'm actually pulling down. So if I submerge my brush and I come in at a steep angle and I pull down, then bounce, right? Take a look at how fluffy on one side of the brush. Not only that, this is going to release really, really easy from the brush without a lot of pressure at all. That's what we want to be able to accomplish, right? I do not want to be in a position where, let's say I get a lot of product and then I come in too flat, right? I come in too flat and then I bounce, right? So you can even see, even though this didn't come out too bad, I feel that if you're at a steeper angle of attack, right? So again, like 45, right? 45 degrees probably a little bit less, but you can see that I'm really coming down at a steep angle to get a nice bead on one side of the brush. So another student said, hey, I noticed when I am working with a core powder, right, I'm successful at picking it up. All right, I'm really successful at picking this up. However, when I set this down on the surface of the nail, I notice the product is running all over the place. So we want to run. We just don't want it to run out of control and all over the place. So you have to be able to hold the finger, take a look at it, at this angle. I don't want it at this angle. If you're at this angle and the brush is flat, look what the cuticle is going to end up becoming. It's going to end up becoming real thick and burly, and everything is going to run this way, right? The biggest mistake that a lot of beginners make when they work with a new product they're not familiar with is their angle of placement. They place it with the finger too flat, like this, right? Look how flat that is. And then what ends up happening is the product ends up moving out to the edge. There's no chance of you doing anything, right? There's no chance of you getting the product to move in a successful, self-leveling, natural shape. The only way to be able to do that is if the angle of attack, again, is this, right? If I hold this to the side like this, take a look at this. All right, look at that. So if I set it down with my brush flat and the finger pointed down, it's going to create a natural, right, taper towards the cuticle area. So the problem she had with the core powder, she was like, oh, you know, the temperature is still quite cool up in the Northeast. And I noticed that when I actually picked this up, and then I went to go set it down immediately, and then I went to kind of touch, I noticed, so you can see how fast, take a look at this run. She was like, I couldn't control the run. Everything is moving really, really fast. How do I fix that problem? So, right, and again, you can see how it's starting to move off the finger. Well, if you're working with a core product, like Core Clear or Core Pink, what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to give the product a chance to breathe before you set it down. And what I mean by breathing is just inducing a little bit of oxygen into the pearl. So if I submerge my brush, I load this up, I tap this, I pull down, bounce, 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 and then I count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I release. Dude, this is going to give you enough time to just kind of lightly slide around the perimeter of the nail. But take a look at the roll. Do you see how it slowly moves past the stress area without without being out of control? Look at this. At this point right here, if I was literally going to take the body of my brush and start feathering, 1, 2, 3, pull, 1, 2, 3, pull, right? 1, 2, 3, really wipe, 1, 2, 3, wipe, and then start to use the body of the brush, 1, 2, 3. Look at that. Everything pulls. If you're using a core product, everything pulls into perfection without you really having to do anything crazy. For those of you guys that just joined us, make sure to smash the subscribe button. If you guys want education that is really going to set, right, well, set you apart from everyone else, especially once you guys get these techniques down. It's a matter of mastering these fundamentals so that you guys will get to nail ninja status. All right, so with something like Cover Pink, you'll notice if I submerge my brush and then I have a lot of liquid and I pull down and I bounce, 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 bounce. Well, I might count to 1, 2, 3, 4, so a second less. And notice like that cuticle area. I want it in a position where I can lightly slide. It's a light sliding motion. What, it took 2, 3 pulls, right? And it gets me in position where if I'm holding the finger down towards the towel, everything is going to move this way. It's not going to move this way. Take a look at this, right? Just allowing this to sit. Like if I wanted to come in and naturally kind of shape my smile line, if you guys are doing reverse application, you see how I can bring that teardrop down into this position? And then I could literally wedge my brush. And this is going to give me the opportunity to come in and really shape the smile line deep enough so that if I'm doing any type of French application, I'm going to be able to get that really, really tight wall that I need to press any product up against the edge, okay? So if you're doing smile lines, again, and you could tell, right, my cuticle areas are rounded off. One of the things I stress with all the beginners that are out there learning how to do this, we want you to get into, or hey, do you have a pen there? All right. Do you have a pen, bro?
Yeah.
Or is gonna give me a pen? I want to show you guys something. Or just a marker, yeah. Anything? Okay. So take a look at this, you guys. Cheers, bud. All right. So if I am, again, if this is the surface of the nail, right? I'm kind of drawing this out in a slight three-dimensional fashion, right? Okay, right now. Cheers, bro. Appreciate that. Okay, so when we set the bead to the back end, and I don't care again if you sculpt out the tip or you glue the tip on. Once you set the bead to the back, you want everything self-leveling towards the cuticle area as well as the perimeter of the nail, right? It has to self-level out this way, right? Kind of imagine the shape of a light, right? Look at that, right? Imagine the shape of the light, the back of the light. It's a perfect example. You see how it kind of contours down this way? Everything contours down. That's exactly what we want at the back of the cuticle area when we're working. We want it to taper down. We don't want flat ledges, right? You don't want to be in a position where the cuticle area, if this was, again, the back of the nail, let's just draw this out. There's my cuticle area. You don't want to be in a position where everything is thick here and then like this coming down. It does you no good. This is going to be in a very, again, who is this? Are you learning or are you professional? I am definitely professional. So here we go. We want it like this, correct? We want it the opposite. We want it like tapered towards the cuticle area. And that is what is going to be, again, detrimental to you having the least amount of effort when filing around the cuticle area, okay? So let's go ahead and set ourselves up for a sculptured nail, okay? So what I want to be able to do, I want to place my tab underneath. I want to be able to, again, press this, create yourself, again, a handle, open this up, and you'll notice in this position, it's already in a C-curve. If you pull it, it ends up become flat. This is going to give you the opportunity when you pull this to get underneath without any hitches. Use your hand to lift the form to touch the end of the free edge so that you have it absolutely flush to the surface of the nail. Hello, Martine. How are you? All right. So once we have the form on the nail, we want to be able to build a free edge that is not going to run all over the place, right? We want to be able to build something that is going to be in a clay-like consistency. If I submerge my brush, and I pull down and bounce inside the powder, and I get myself a nice bead, I can excel the clay-like consistency by draining out the excess from the back of the brush. Watch this. When I set this to the surface of the form, Look at that. Nothing moves. Okay, so I need to get this to the sides as fast as I can. If I walk it from the top and then I get it even with the growth channel, the top part of the bead is where I want to walk. Look at this, from the top. I'm walking it, trying to follow the natural smile. I have connection. I go back over the top. I bring it even with the growth channel. I walk it from the top corner of the bead until I have connection. Once I have connection from side to side, then I have the option. It's like, okay, do I need to create length by dragging this out? Do I need to kind of reshape this by tapering the free edge, right? Squaring it off. You have many options once you get to this point. Look at this. I can continue to work this into any shape and form. And the best part about actually me pulling this out is I'll be able to get the free edge, look at that, absolutely flush to the end of the nail. There's no buildup. It's like I just built the perfect tip, okay? So once I have the tip on, I have connection. Take a look at my growth channel, dead straight, coming off the end of the growth channel all the way out to the end. Not only that, if you're looking down the barrel of the nail, one of the things I want to be able to point out, look how even the tip is, right? There's not a big bulky buildup, dead even, and it's within my growth channels. Here's my growth channels on both sides. Nothing is wider than the edges, everything is tapered, all right? So for all of you guys that just joined, welcome. For those of you guys that don't know who I am, that is absolutely fine. I'm here to teach you guys how to do nails. Hopefully you enjoy the education as well as the entertainment. Okay, so once we have the free edge built, we now want to do this, right? We want to be able to lay down a bead that is going to overlay. Your success when it comes to doing acrylic nails is mastering the overlay. We are not going to start from here and build to here. Once you have the tip built out, you're going to lay down a bead and have it self-level from this point to this point. So what do we want to be able to do? I need to hold the finger down towards the towel. I need to submerge my brush, get this thing loaded with monomer, tap one side. I need to pull down, bounce, bounce, bounce. Do you see that? Look at that. Look at how big that bead is. Everything absorbed quick. Again, notice. I'm gonna show you guys something crazy before we actually start to sculpt. Watch this. And I got this from one of my students last week, right? She was like, you know what? Every time I pick up the bead and I set it down, it runs all over the place. So I was like, I'm gonna show you guys something crazy. If I submerge my brush and I just load the brush, you see all that liquid dripping off? I'm not even gonna tap it. Like this, to most people, would be an excessive amount of liquid on the end of your brush. Now watch this. Without even tapping out the liquid, if I pull down, bounce, 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 man, that is burly. Now, if I set this down to the nail, it would run all over the place. But watch this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I slow release it. Dude, without removing any liquid, right? Without removing any liquid, do you see that? Like it's not losing control. And that is the key right there. Can you get it in a position, look at this, like I can move this, shape this. This is almost a very, very slow self-leveling, almost to the point where if I start to brush through it, I could brush it into perfection because the consistency is so nice, right? For those of you guys that get your nails done, you see how people lay it down, they're able to brush it into perfection. So again, now notice, same amount of liquid. I want to show you guys something crazy. Same amount of liquid. I'm gonna remove this from the surface. That way I don't have to keep adding, right? If I didn't wait, if I submerge my brush and just shake this off, watch this. And I pick up a bead and I go directly to the finger and release. Look at this. Do you see that? Look at the difference. So a lot of people, again, that don't wait Just allowing it to breathe a little makes all the difference in the world. And I'm never gonna apply something that big and that wet to the surface because that's just going to create a mess over the surface of the nail. But for you to get something that's going to cover, and again, I'm gonna be working on a nail that's this size, but if I'm working on a nail this size, I'm gonna try to pick up a bead that's about half the size of that fingernail, right? This is a live video, Catherine, right? This is a live video. I promise you that. That's the best part about that. You could go on to Young Nails. You can watch the thousands of videos that we have. But when I get on here, I'm going to try to explain to you guys in the best detail I possibly can so that you guys are going to get the tips and tricks, like basically going to help you guys in the shop. All right, so if I submerge my brush and I get it super, super wet, and I just tap, right, one side. I barely tap one side. And then I come down and I pull and I bounce, bounce, bounce. 3 bounces. 1, see, look, half the size of the nail. 2, 3, 4. Dude, slow release. Boom. Do you see how fluffy it is around the edges? It's so nice that I could use, look at that. I'm just, like, if you see that right there, you see that corner? Watch this. Take a look. I set the tip of the brush down and I just lightly slide it. Do you see that? I don't have to, and everything is moving so slow that if I wanted to move it more, I could use a gel-like touch on the surface. Bro, do you see that? I think most people, when they're working around the cuticle area, they think that they have to like set it down and then they have to pat it this way. They have to pat it this. If you pull this way, if you're pulling your cuticles in this direction, take a look at what happens. Do you see how everything starts to, so that's a problem. If I'm pulling my cuticle this way, you end up with way too thin of a cuticle area, and then you end up with ledges, and then most of the product is built up right here. This is going to be a problem at all. We want to be in a position where the cuticle area is going to self-level with perfection, right? That's starting to dry out. Let's just go ahead and finish this out. Watch this. Okay, so take a look at my cuticle area. If I submerge my brush and I get myself a really, really healthy bead and I count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I set it down. You see the space? I take my time. See that space between the cuticle? Look at this. Just gently slide, gently slide, gently slide. Dude, done with the cuticle area. Starting to move past the stress area. Look, from the front of the bead, I start to barely pull it. From the front of the bead, I start to barely pull it. I don't want to start attacking it yet. I need the product to start moving. Now, as everything starts to set, then I can start to put a little bit more force into it. Oh, wow. Everything is starting to blend into the tip, putting a little bit more force. Take a look at my sides. You see how look at my, not only is it tight around here, take a look how tight it is here. It is huge, right? Now, I am literally allowing the product to move from this position. Take a look at the side profile. Do you see how it shapes natural? This is gonna put you in position to be able to build nails that require the least amount of filing. You do not wanna be in a position where you're building something too bulky. Now, for those of you guys that are wondering, what do I actually do? You're actually a really good instructor. Oh, thanks. Only been teaching for 25 years. All right, so here, right here in the front, what we need to be able to do, I'm gonna lay a bead in between. So see that little line? I'm gonna lay a bead like right in the middle, all right? And I want to be able, yeah, that's really happy. I agree. So that what we want to be able to do is get myself, right, a nice bead. I'm going to set it right in between. Boom. I'm going to blend back into the body. And then what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to use the body of the brush, boom, all the way from side to side. And this is going to fill in all that negative space, as you can see. All right. This is going to allow you, right, to get it perfect. If I choose to brush back to blend it, that's what we want to be able to do. All right. All of you guys out there that are getting into the nail game, for those of you guys out there that want to get better, faster, stronger, what you want to be able to do is you have to be able to, right, build the right steps. So for me to be able to build that, let's get back to the drawing board. What's the best brush to use? This one right here. It's Greg Salo Signature Series 12. What's up, Karen? All right. What's up, Karen? What's up, Karen? All right, so what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to, if this is, again, all right, this is the natural nail. So let's say you either glue or sculpt a tip on. Boom, you have that, okay? If you start at the cuticle area, if the finger is pointed down, and then you set your brush, so the brush is going to be flat, the finger is going to be pointed down. Once you set the bead down to the cuticle area with space, and then you use the brush, right? It's almost a light sliding motion to the cuticle area. Like if this is my brush, boom, then what's going to end up happening is we're going to end up creating this, right? And then once you set that bead, once it gets to about right here, this is where I start to brush. So if you're looking around, right, the whole entire perimeter, if you have the tip on, once the bead moves and the bead gets to about right there, right about halfway, I start to brush from the front, here, 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 right? So it's like I pull, wipe, pull, wipe, pull, wipe, pull, wipe, right? If you have slight ledge, you can pull from the side. And then what ends up happening is then everything will kind of taper down this way. You don't have to worry about filling the whole entire thing up. You just want to make sure that you get the cuticle area as tight as you possibly can. Then with a blending bead, what you want to be able to do is come down and then fill this area right there. Boom, you see that? So that is, again, the blending bead, right? You're going to do 1, which is basically the free edge. You're going to do 2, which is the cuticle area. And then if you need to do the 3rd one, which is the blending bead, that's what you want to be able to do. All right. I am not drawing on tissue. I'm drawing on basically these right here. The Young Nails table towels. All right. They are the best to wipe your brush on when you're working. All right, so once we have this, once this dries off, the form comes off, right? So just to repeat the process one more time, let me just go ahead and go through it so that you guys can see how it's done. I'm gonna go ahead, and what I like to do actually with these, I'll go ahead and clip off, right, the cuticle area, and then I'll use my hand file to come around, right, shape that cuticle area, and boom, just like that. All right, boom, all right. And then what I want to be able to do is I'll clip off as much of the free edge as I possibly can. This is going to set me up so that when I come in and I use my hand file to kind of shape the free edge, I have something to place underneath. I'm going to use my electric file at a gentle speed, all right, to tickle, 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 and then feather away the shine. All right, notice I'm using my electric file to tickle away the shine. I don't want to be aggressive. Once the shine is thoroughly removed from the surface, then I want to go ahead and use this product right here. This is Swipe. And then I want to go ahead and clean the surface and then use Protein Bond. Sorry, yep. After we're done swiping, I want to use Protein Bond. and use a couple of coats from cuticle to free edge. I usually do all 10 fingers, come back, then do another 10 fingers. For those of you guys that just joined us, make sure to smash the like button and subscribe. If you guys want live demos on education that's going to be game-changing to your nail career, this is the channel that you need to follow. Let's go ahead and go through and grab ourselves a form. Boom. Go ahead and pre-pinch it, create that handle, open it up, flatten it out, flatten this out. This is going to allow you to get underneath. I'm going to be able to tilt this up so that it's nice and flat. Hold on to the form while you're working. Let's go with a little bit of a different shape. You see how I'm adjusting here. Don't seal the top, keep that open, all right? So if we want to go with basically say an active length stiletto, then I again pull, bounce, 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 all right? Just need a little bit more monomer. Pull, bounce, 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 all right? I'm gonna release the liquid from the back of my brush. If I set it to the surface now, as you can see, I have clay-like consistency. I'm going to start from the center, walk it down the side, get it even with the side, the top part of the bead, walk it from the top, walk it from the top, connection. Then again, go over the top. You see this part of the bead right there. Get it even with the growth channel, walk it from the top, even, from the top, even. Get connection. Once you have connection, then I could start to use the wedge of my brush, right, the sides of my brush, look at this, to actually taper this in and make this as pointed as I possibly can. So if I need length, I'm gonna pull this out. If I'm using the side of my brush, I'm gonna be able to get this as dead tight and even as I can. Boom, see that? Even, okay? And that's what we wanna be able to do. Don't rush it, just make sure that you get it dead straight as we possibly can. Now what we wanna be able to do is work the cuticle area. Submerge my brush, okay? Pull down, bounce, 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 bounce. Count, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you're going to release. Look at this. The consistency is perfect for me to use a light sliding motion around the perimeter of the nail. A few touches to get it as close as I can. Where am I going to pull? Right here from the front, wipe my brush. I go to this side, start pulling down in that corner to the front, wipe my brush. Start pulling from the front of the bead, wipe my brush. Give it a chance to set. Pull from the front, wipe my brush. Pull from the front, wipe my brush. You can see, again, we've got it in that same position. Remember, just like that, we got in that same position. So once we're in this position, I'm not gonna try to drag everything out to the very, very front of the nail. I'm gonna take a blending bead now. Okay, take a blending bead, release the liquid. Where am I going to set it? Right here. So like right where in between where I set it, and then I'm gonna blend back. Now I'm not gonna pull anything. At this point here, all I'm gonna do is just walk it from side to side. Look at this, walk it over the top from side to side, and then start using the base of the brush to start pulling it down, walking it. All you're doing is pressing the surface even until you get enough product over the missing, right, area. Look at that, boom, just like that. And then once you actually have it filled out, if I choose to blend back, if I choose to use the body of my brush and work it evenly from side to side, I'm going to be able to build, again, another nail that is absolutely, again, in perfect shape for me to file in the least amount of effort. And this is what I mean by the least amount of effort, okay? So this is the first nail that I've done. If you build it where you don't have to file that much, take a look. Contact on the side to get the right side even. Contact on my left side to get this as even as I can. Contact on the front to get this as even as I can. And just remove this so it does not get in the way. From my side, look at this. You see all that's hanging down? Contact at the lowest point of the nail. Make sure this does not slide off. Contact at the lowest point of the nail. Keep contact until you file up into the corner so that you don't build a notch I have perfectly razor sharp lower arches. Take a look here. See how that's hanging? I'm not gonna start from the corner and bring it in. I need to start from the lowest point. Keep contact. Oops, keep contact. Look at this. Keep contact, continue to keep contact until the hand file reaches, look at that corner, and you're able to build razor sharp lower arches. All right, that's what it comes down to. Like, once you have the sides shaped out, right? Watch how fast it takes me to use my electric file to get this into perfection. I'm gonna turn my electric file up to about 15,000 RPMs. I don't need to work that hard. I'm gonna look at the side profile. I'm gonna taper the upper arch perfect. Boom. I'm gonna look down the barrel of the nail. I'm gonna get my C-curve dead even. All I'm doing is pulling in one direction using the I-formation roadmap. This is gonna get my C-curve absolutely perfect. Boom. I'm gonna go around the cuticle area. Taper, right? All I'm doing is removing bulk. I'm not putting a lot of pressure. And then I follow through the rest of the body. Look at that. I am literally done. I don't need to sit there and file for friggin' ever. I've got it in position now. All right, make sure this doesn't pop off. I got this in position now with the amount of hand filing. Look at this. If I'm going around the cuticle area, 4 or 5 swipes around the perimeter of the nail, I want to be able to get this area. This area here has to be tight, no ledges at all. Okay? I work my left side. Literally, I'm holding it on the top, using the whole entire surface area of the hand file. Then I can hold it here and, like, look at this. If I hold it on the side and then come up, what this is going to do, it's going to taper in all those edges. I do the same thing on the opposite side. I hold the hand file like this. I don't pull down like this. Go into the nail, come down. Watch how fast. If I am using, again, if I go into the nail, I'm getting 2 swipes. See that? 2 swipes every single time. Boom, boom. And you can see the file marks. You see how the file marks are all diagonal? That's what I want to be able to create. Okay? Boom. Same thing on this side. Last but not least, what I want to be able to do, I want to be able to look down the barrel of the nail, right? This is where we're going to get it even. I need to make sure when I'm looking at the client perspective that everything is going to be dead straight. I'm gonna look down the barrel of the nail, make a peace sign, rest my hand file in between. I'm gonna rest it on the surface. I'm gonna continue to file in one direction from side to side. And then as you can see, I built, again, something, let's just wipe this away, that's going to be really straight and even on all ends, right? And that's what we want to be able to do. How can you file your nail? How can you create a canvas that is going to look as natural as possible, tight around the edges, natural shape and arches, thin but super strong, right? Looks like it belongs, again, on the cover of an ad. And that's what you want to be able to do, all right? Appreciate it, you guys. It's been a while. Glad I could tune in and help. For those of you guys, again, that are interested in more education, get a hold of Ray Bracamontes here at home office, 1-800-777-9170. Again, 1-800-777-9170. I have upcoming acrylic classes. I have upcoming gel classes for those of you guys that are interested in bettering your skills. All you have to do, again, if you can't join those paid classes, you just tune into our lives. Myself, Karen, the whole team is here to help you guys get better. I really do hope that this helped. We're going to be posting this a little bit later, so if you need to go back and rewatch this, again, it's going to help. Remember, if you have questions, hit me up. I'm always available to help as much as I possibly can. And I really, really appreciate you guys tuning in. Remember, subscribe, smash that like button. It's the only way that you guys are going to get notifications on upcoming, basically, education to get yourself to that next level. Thank you guys. I really, really appreciate all the love and support, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Have a wonderful day. Thanks a million. Peace.